Oberlin, her location. This is Sarah. So we have her here at our main location, and then just for this week, and then she'll go run hers. But her bosses are interested because we told them about you guys, so they're interested in having her, sign up to be on these calls as well. So I wanted her to get a sense of what happens and the value of being on something like this. So hopefully we'll have her joining too from her space. So we have been approached recently in the last few weeks by so many cities and also universities, as I was telling you guys before. We now have another one, a community college, talking to us. So it's been really interesting. Like, it kind of feels like things are spreading like wildfire, and people are ready for something like this in Ohio, which is great because 10 years ago when we started, co-working wasn't a word here, and it still kind of feels like that sometimes, but it's nice to get that validation that people are learning.
You
And
said that you're being approached by other cities as well,
yes.
like governments,
Huh?
like governments of cities.
Yeah, so mayors, economic development directors are the majority of who's coming to us, and then presidents of schools.
What? How are they finding you?
They're watching us, I think, in the press,
Yeah.
emailing us. Yeah, so I think that they're seeing now that they call them satellite locations. It's not something that we've ever called them, but that's kind of how they're finding us.
Yeah, I think it's really just a testament to what Launch House has been doing over 10 years. We've just been in the newspapers a lot. We're very good at just getting media attention when we need it. And then we've got about 8,000 people on our email list. I don't even know exactly who's on it. But sure enough, I bet if we looked in there, we'd find those same people that are scouting us on our email list, which we we'll email once a week, and it keeps people in tune with us. And Northeast Ohio is a very small area, and people talk. And I think word is getting out among people, and it's just kind of the snowball effect.
What we're seeing is that they want to do something to activate the small business communities that they have, and have a lot of people in their homes that they want to pull out of their homes and working together. But they don't necessarily want to reinvent the wheel or want to try to start on their own because they know it can be difficult. So they are pulling on a brand they know has been proven to work here. And so I think that's why we're getting so much of this is they want it for their communities, but they don't want to do it.
This is terrific. I mean, this is it's becoming a whole business unto itself, really, kind of separate from the actual operation of your existing business. Cool. Well, let me know how it can help.
We probably will be talking to you offline because I think that your expertise and how you bring us together would really help here. So more localized. So and like I was telling you, we started the co-working alliance, and it's been going great. And I just kind of want to, I don't know, I just want to keep the momentum going and figure out, what opportunities do we take, which ones do we say no to, or do we empower all these people to kind of use our model, if they run it. So there's a lot of variables in us choosing where.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, if you want, we can make some time to talk about it. You just kind of talk through the options.
Okay.
I like it. Great. Okay. Well, very exciting. And again, excited to hear, some of the questions that are coming up just now that we have a larger team there. So thanks for that. And Maurice, last but not least, you don't have any new employees, do you?
I do not have any new employees now. Still just me. So I guess my update for the week was, so last week we talked about the co-working alliance stuff. So I spoke with two other co-working space owners/organizers. One in Ann Arbor, which they like the idea of forming some type of alliance. So I have two folks that are on board with the idea. I also spoke to the person who owns and runs the current co-working space that I'm a member of now. Unfortunately, she's not on board with the idea, which was a little surprised about because I've known her for a while and I thought this would be something she's interested in, while the other two people that I spoke with were kind of like cold calls, so to speak. but her hesitation was mainly around she didn't see why, like she couldn't understand the reason of why she would need to be part of like another co-working group. Because she told me how she's part of some like online mailing lists and other like Google groups, and she can get a lot of her questions answered through that. And she said there could be some benefit of like a local group, but she didn't really
I guess I'd want to know like
necessarily
what's.
interested at the moment.
I guess I'm curious like what she does want. You know, like what's.
Right.
I don't know.
So that's one
what
thing I told her is there's nothing defined right now, right? I'm just socializing the idea to see if this is even something people will be interested in. Two things I was surprised about was she wanted to know if there's like a membership fee associated with it. I was like, oh no, like this would be like a free, we're just figuring out what we want to do with this group thing. So her initial thought was like, it's like a pay to play type thing. Was like, nope, not right now at least. Like I was just thinking there's 7 co-working spaces within an hour from each other. No one has spoken to each other. I just want to get people together. And then the other thing I was kind of surprised about, because so we talked last week about how approaching different spaces had to not seem like threatening or intimidating or something like that. So she actually was, at least my view of it, was a little threatened, I guess, by the fact that I was trying to do this, because she didn't understand why, if I don't run my own space right now, why would I want to get space owners together? So she was saying if I did have my own space, it would make more sense for her that I'm trying to start this group. But since I'm trying to open my own space now, it didn't make sense to her why I want to bring people together. That's like interesting. That's kind of the opposite of what I would have expected.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very curious about this. I think so. This is actually it speaks to kind of an important larger lesson in this, which is why we kind of try to not emphasize the renting of workspace even in the early stages, because I think it brings up these kind of weird situations where, you know, essentially people see you as being motivated only by wanting to get customers to come to your space. And that's,
Right.
you know, even if that ultimately at the end of the day, business wise is true, that's not gonna, it's not gonna be advantageous to us for people to see it that way. And so what we wanna do is look at how we can cast this as something other than workspace. So, you know, maybe that there's a workspace that is part of the plan eventually, but is there a way that you can talk about what you're doing that doesn't require workspace in order for you to be working towards the goal? You know, so maybe it's that you're building a support community for people who are into a certain kind of work, or just people who really love to do work sprints at 8 a.m. on Monday mornings, or whatever it is, right? Like there's some like angle that you can do even if you don't have space. And then you're an organization, then you're a group, and that group
Right.
can exist and it can thrive without there being a physical space. And then eventually there's a space. And maybe you're explicitly saying, yeah, we want to eventually turn this into a space. But if you can say, well, right now we're a community and the community hangs out here and you can come hang out with us, it makes it easier for other people to get on board. Does that make sense?
It does. Yep.
Do you have
No,
a
it does
sense
make
of what
sense.
that direction could be for you? I mean, is there like an angle, or is there an obvious angle, or do we need to come up with one, I guess is what I'm wondering.
There's no obvious angle yet. I just had this conversation on Friday, so I've been thinking about that over the weekend, but I haven't come up with an answer for it just yet. But my two takeaways from that was, one, what you had mentioned, right? I guess my goals need to be pretty clear, right, in terms of what is I'm trying to do with this group of co-working owners slash organizers, or maybe what I'm not trying to do with it might also help. And then the other part is to be clear that I'm not trying to like make a business out of that organization, so to speak. Like my business would be opening the co-working space down the line, but getting owners and organizers together is not what I'm looking to profit off of. Because that was one of her first questions was, well, how would you charge for this? I was like, oh, I didn't even consider charging for that. Like I'm not bringing value to the table. I'm not saying, come join me, I will show you the way. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
get people together in the sense of co-working owners.
And even then, it's like, it's funny that you're still encountering resistance even with that. but what I found works in other people's like alliances and relationships is to not even name it for a while. You know, like if you
Okay.
can, like if you forget the naming and just say, you know, hey, let's get coffee, let me buy you a beer, like whatever it is. Or even, you know, to go further to say, like, hey, I'm getting together with this other person. I'd really love to have you there. I think it would be cool for you to meet them, you know. So you're kind of like, you're being kind of surreptitious about your intentions, you know, but
Right.
only for the sake of the common good.
Okay. Yeah, so I need to refine my plan. There's still 4 other spaces that I need to reach out to see if they're interested. But I'll circle back around with them and see if once there's more people on board, maybe they'll then be interested.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the other thing that's actually you're reminding me of, if you have a critical mass, even if you only have, you know, 5 or 6 spaces, inevitably some of them are going to be more open than others. And it doesn't mean that they can't all come around, but you want to find the one that is excited, and that's going to be your first. And that might not be the first person you talk to. It might be the last person you talk to. So it does make sense to try to stir the pot a little bit and see what kind of responses you get before you make any hard decisions.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because after my meeting with them on Friday, Saturday, I was thinking maybe I should send like a follow-up email to kind of like clarify what I'm trying to do. But then my thought was, well, I don't really want to put a hard sell on them if they're not interested in being part of the group. Like if this is, like you said, right, the core beginning of it, I don't necessarily want someone who's skeptical to be there at the beginning. I want those folks that are excited and want to help shape what this is going to be. And then maybe the skeptics would come around, so to speak.
Gotcha. Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it's amazing. Once you start getting people together and having a good time, you know, it validates things for the next layer of people who would be willing to participate once they see that you've done it already and that somebody else has
Right.
showed up. So I feel you on that. Cool. What else in terms of your trajectory? I mean, it sounds like at this point we just need to think about your strategy as far as, you know, how we're going to start getting people excited about this. And are we at the point where we need to, where you need to start organizing?
I think so, yes. So I've been thinking as well about less on the organizer side group and more of like the forming my own group, so to speak, about what I could do to start getting people together. I'd said before how there's no like obvious gap that I've seen, at least, right? So one thing I was going to start doing was create some type of like lunch meetup group to at least start pulling people out that do work from home or do work remote. I mean, everyone has to eat at some point of the day. And then once that group starts getting together, it can start figuring out like, what is it that people want to do or need, right? Do they want to do work sprints? Is it just lunch that they're looking for? Stuff like that. Because then they can start figuring out what their pain points and needs of the community are.
Yeah, and we kind of have educated guesses, right? Because we know people have the same, you know, people need to be able to concentrate. People need to be able
Right.
to get out of their house and find somebody to help them with whatever. So there's things that you can build on for sure.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm starting with like those basic commonalities to kind of get people out. I'll probably start moving on that this week, and then start figuring out what are the specifics that folks are looking for.
That sounds good, Maurice. Please keep us posted on how it goes. Would love to hear more as you make your progress.
Absolutely.
All right. So I realized that we actually have several people calling in as well that we've not heard from, but one of them turned on their camera. So Melanie, welcome back. So lovely to see you. Why don't you give us a little update on how things are going in your world?
Hi. Good to see everybody. It's been a while since I've been on here again. Things are going well. I'm actually looking at possibly expanding into space on the other end of the building. Can everybody? Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, I'm going to put in my proposal and see, but I have people interested in more space and dedicated desks, which I don't have in the open co-working area. So I feel like I need to start hopping on these meetings just to get motivated again to do something like this. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
Hang on, rewind me. So how is it going in your current space? I mean, we're talking about expansion already. This is exciting.
Yeah, it's going well. I had a decent boost this month, this last month, in membership. We did a free co-working week and got several people to sign up, and I have a handful more people who are ready to sign up this coming month as well. So it's just just that slow rise in membership, and the community here is really developing, and people are feeling that sense of ownership of the place, and makes me really happy.
So I'm so happy to hear it, Melanie. This is great.
Me too.
Yeah. And so now you're looking at expansion. That's kind of the thing that's getting you, that's like the next thing on the horizon.
Yeah, there's a space that's been sitting empty for quite a while. There's a salon right next door, and then there's this space that I'm talking about. So it's like a split of my space, but the salon is planning to. She has less than a year and a half left in the space. She's been there for 15 years. And she's ready to move on to something else. So she has her salon up for sale. She came over when she heard I was interested in the space on the end, and she's like, well, what about just expanding into the salon? You could just buy my business. And I went, I don't want to buy your business. That's not going to happen, because she has it for sale for $30,000.
Lease, but
right, but I don't even want to take over her lease. She's been there so long. Her lease, she's paying as much as I am for her one space that I am for my two spaces. And I'm like, I don't want that one. So I'm going to wait till you either in the year and a half, like no one bought your business. So I'm going to take it over. I'm going to have the landlords rewrite the entire lease for the whole top floor. So I'll take over the two spaces down the road. That's ultimately the plan.
This is very exciting, Melanie. This is when an expansion really works in such an easy way, when it can be in the same building. And a lot of times I recommend to people to start with a smaller space and then grow over time as you validate the idea. So you're setting yourself up nicely there.
Thank you. I hope it works.
Yeah. Well, you've already given yourself a lot of reason to believe what the answer is to that. So,
thanks.
Yeah, good. Okay. All right. So we've got two other people calling in. We've got Olivia and we've got Daoud. Are either of you able to unmute and introduce yourselves, or are you just listening in? If you're just listening in, then you won't respond. But if you want to say hello, now is a good time to do it. And going. Oh, Daoud, are you there? Damn, I saw him on mute. Oh, we got Olivia, are you with us? Can you say hi?
I am.
Give us an intro.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I have been not with my camera on because I've literally the last few weeks rushed back with paint all over my face, and we're just doing the last bits of getting the space ready before hopefully opening next week. So now I'm doing it all, but I don't really know what I'm doing. Anyway, I do and I don't, but I'm having a week of being in front of the computer now.
Well, so tell me what's going on. What's on your mind? What are the challenges?
We just need to open. It's got a little bit slow in terms of the last sort of 20%. Getting all those little things done. So sticking to next Monday as the opening date. We've got all the basics required. It's just all that like stuff you have in your head that you think you need but you don't. So we'll do that in the first week. So I'm going to I've got a Freelancers Anonymous group on Facebook, and I'm going to invite them all to come next week to be my guinea pigs and fill the space and for us to figure out what we don't have or what's going wrong or whatever. And then I hope that's a good idea. And then, yeah, we've got about 15 people who are all keen for membership, but I haven't got anyone who's signed on the dotted line because a lot of people haven't come to see the space yet. So I'm hoping it will all just fall into place at once.
I'm so excited for you, Olivia. I'm so excited. This is a great time. Okay, so I'm soliciting advice from the group here. For those of you who run spaces already, what would you advise Olivia do 1 week away from launch that she might not think to do otherwise, that maybe you were surprised by?
How many people on here have a co-working?
Melanie, Herman, and the Launch House team over there in the corner as well.
I was going to say, just don't sweat the small stuff. Keep moving forward, and everything's going to be okay.
What happened on your first day when you opened?
Nothing.
Really? Did you have any members, or did you get all your friends to come and make it look busy? Or
Yes, I basically I joined the local chamber, and they did a ribbon cutting for me. And so that
Nice.
what that did for me was it just gave me a date to kind of, just jump in. I didn't have anyone signed up before. Mine was a little unique because I actually had to build the building as well, and then build out a co-working space. So it was a lot of things that were in the process. But ultimately, I think I got the confidence probably through Tony, is just, if you build it, they will come. And and I was really scared that first month because we didn't really have much, but we did have a few. But it didn't matter because it's so new. You just need to get people to kind of know about it, So I love your idea about having Freelancers Anonymous. I think that's an awesome way to do it. Like the other ideas that a few of y'all brought up about just having people come into the space for free. Like somebody mentioned the free co-working for a week or whatever. That's an awesome idea. We haven't done too many promotions like that, but I think as long as you get people in there, and and you'll get people signed up in no time.
Yeah, good. Yeah, the co-working for a week or co-working for a day. I think on another week's webinar, someone did co-working for a free trial for 3 days. I don't really know. Am I giving too much away if I do? Melanie, what you did a week? Is that like people can literally come for a week?
Yeah, so the reason why I chose to do a week is when the first time I did a free co-working week, shortly after I opened, I had a number of people send me messages saying, I'm going to be out of town this time, or this date. I'm going to be not going to be there, so I won't be able to use the whole week. So I realized that everyone's schedules were so different that if I gave them a week, and if they only came in on one day that week, that at least it gives them the option to show up at least one of those 5 days. And that was the case this time as well. Some people couldn't come for the whole week, but they had choices. And so in my promotion, I made sure everyone knew it's like, come for an hour, come for a day, or come for the whole week. It's up to you. Your choice.
Okay. So you're saying it was a free trial for a whole week, but people could just come on those days. Okay.
Yeah. And one of the things I did for anyone else who doesn't have their space open yet, and like this gentleman that said that he had to build his space, I did a sign-up day at a local brewery, and I had done a number of pop-ups and stuff, events along the way, but I was like, I need people to finally just commit. And I was looking at 2 different spaces at the time. I hadn't signed a lease yet, But what I did was I created floor plans that I had printed onto poster size papers, and I did put desks in to scale to show them where things would be or could be, and I had them displayed at my sign-up night. And I said, today's the day to get the discount. If you're in, you're in. And I got 15 people to sign up. So
wow, what was the discount? It must have been a generous one.
it was, I think it was pretty generous. It was 15% off for the first 6 months. So what was that?
115, 15.
Yes, 15%. Yeah, 15%. But it got people in the door, and then it didn't take long to get my offices filled like that. So between the offices and those other members, it was a good start.
Great.
Did free trial, so
Other advice for Olivia in terms of the final push in the last week?
yeah, we do.
Yeah, go for it, Jadia.
So I think
I can't hear you.
Oh, just Jadia, if you can, just anything you can do to, just bring that mic right up to you. There you go. There you go.
Sorry, I just unplugged it by accident. So we had, I think, a 2 to 3 week soft opening for our last new location, and because same thing as Melanie, we just wanted people to work out of the space and realize that the more that they spent time in it, it became their workspace, it became their home away from home. So we first day put their credit cards on file, but then didn't charge them until I think the 1st of next month. So by the time they were in, we already had their information. We let them know it would run the first month, and it was up to them to cancel if they wanted to, but none of them did, because by that time, that 2 weeks in, they were used to working out of the space. We did do a small discount for, if we call it an inaugural membership, where the first, I think, 25 people to sign up got that locked in price for the first year. For us, it didn't make that much of a difference in terms of extra money out of our pocket. So it worked for us, but that's what we did.
And did you do that credit card payment, non-payment thing? Is that through a white label platform like Nexodus or?
Yeah, we use Office R&D. Some people use Cobot. They're similar, but we had them set up their profiles, put everything on file through there so that it would just automatically run their credit card or their ACH bank account.
Okay. And what was the small discount?
So normally our, I'm blanking. So it was $125 when ours is normally $185. But the real estate in that city is less expensive than our location here. So it just made sense for what we were doing.
Okay. Okay, great.
I really love the idea of the giving people reasons to want to sign up now. So one of the things that happens is that people who work from home don't have urgency. So they don't have a need to join right now. And so we need to create that for them. And I typically do it through programming, which I still highly, highly recommend that you do. But the price motivation certainly helps a lot. And Jadi is right, the margin difference, it makes a difference, but it's better to just get people on the books sooner than later, because every day you don't have a paying member is a day you're losing money. So, you'd rather make less on a person than zero.
Yeah, I wish I'd done more generous early bird offerings, I suppose. I don't think they were generous enough, and therefore I didn't really get any bite for them. And therefore I've only got 2 people who actually took that up.
Yeah, and I would say, again, in terms of the programming side, and you've heard me advise other people on this before, but just in terms of the timing, if you can have something during launch week that kind of can entice people who are participating in the free week to come in on a specific day and time, you really want to have one day and one time, even if it's just for an hour, where you've got. I'm
When
sorry?
you say programming, you mean like the social, like Taco Tuesday and all those things, yeah?
Yeah, either a work sprint or a social event or both. But you want to have at least one time when you're really pushing everybody to show up at the same time, if they can. Because just being able to like have that moment of, wow, there's 10 people here, or 15 or 8, whatever it is, but there's the biggest group we've ever had here. You can take a picture and you can introduce everybody to each other, and you can see yourself, this is what it looks like when it's working, and everyone else can see this is what it looks like when it's working. And you might not have that kind of concentration and critical mass all the time every day for a little while, but if you can have that a little while, then it makes a huge difference in terms of everybody seeing, you know, where this is going. And it makes for a nice sales tool because, you know, you're giving people a chance to make relationships with each other, and then you're paving the way for the next half of this, which is to do a program outside of the window of the free time that people would be enticed to come back for, but that they have to sign up for membership to be a part of, or at least like pay for the day pass or whatever it is. So what you want is for people to have a great time, and then you want them to be hungry to come back for the next one. And for you to say, you know, hey, we did this on Tuesday, we're going to do this again next Tuesday, we'd love to have you.
Okay.
Do you want to come? Yes? Great. Awesome. Here's the membership form.
Okay. Great. Thank you for all your tips, everybody.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts in terms of just like do you have any inclinations? We've talked a lot about programming over the weeks and months, or do you think you're going to kind of think about it some more, or is there something you're leaning toward?
With the Freelancers Anonymous group, I always used to meet once every 2 weeks or once every week in the winter. So I could essentially just move, which was the plan anyway, to move those sessions, which are more about accountability. I could move that into next week. I've actually got people who are running their own events who are already interested in using the space. And then I could just do a social thing, you know, to get people together for drinks or eating or whatever next week as well, which is pretty soon. I mean, where we are, people don't seem to travel too much, so lots of people could make that date fairly easily, I think.
Okay, that sounds good. Cool. Keep us posted on how it goes, and I'm excited for you. This is going to be fun.
It is. It's going to be great.
Just yeah, enjoy it. Enjoy it as best as you can. Take lots of pictures.
I will. Thanks.
Daoud, I see you. This is great. Welcome to the group. So lovely to have you here. I assume I can hear you now. So do you want to just introduce yourself? Tell us where you are. Tell us your story. Tell us about your space. Damn, I can't hear you. See if there's something you need to do to change your microphone settings. And otherwise, I might need to introduce you in the meantime, because I still don't hear you. And I'm filling the dead air in the hopes that perhaps you will get your microphone working. Why don't you keep working on that? I'm going to start introducing you. And then when your microphone works, you can just keep going. So Daoud runs a space called UMake in Ramallah in Palestine. And it is a super great space. It's actually, he's actually been very active in the entrepreneurial industry there, and in generally supporting the economy in the region. We've spoken a few times over Skype. He joined the group very recently, and it is, I guess, not too late in the evening where he is, but certainly past normal business hours. So thank you for joining late in the evening, Daoud. And it sounds like we might need to wait till next time to actually hear your voice. But if you have the chat function at the bottom of the screen here, you can type in any questions that you might have or comments, as we go through the discussion. And otherwise we can just figure out, some tech support after the call and figure out how to get your mic working. Anyway, oh yeah, cool. Dawood says thanks. Great. I'm so excited to have Dawood here from freaking Palestine. I mean, how incredible is that, right? It's so amazing. And really, I've been connecting with people from all over the world, especially in the recent months. I don't know if like Google indexed my site differently or what, but it's just so great to be connecting with people and seeing how universal everything that we're doing is. And it really is incredible how much, and I'm excited to hear Dawood's story some more and then learn more about how things work there and what's similar and what's different. But even just from my own experience, I found we have so much in common. Just the need that people have when they have laptops and they can work from home, to get out of their home and be around other people and support each other. It is absolutely, completely global and totally universal. So whenever any of you travels, I highly recommend looking up the co-working spaces in wherever you're going, just to get a taste for it. So that was it. That was my filling the space time for Dawood.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Whilst you're talking about traveling and co-working around the world, do any of you use the co-working visa, or do you advertise it?
No yeses? That was all no yeses? Okay.
I was just wondering whether that actually, whether that is something that generates leads, or whether there's an incoming sort of stream of international co-workers who therefore get to use the space for free.
So I'm actually an administrator of the co-working visa.
Okay.
And so it's gotten a little bit complicated, but the platform is actually, it was just rebuilt in March. I launched a new version of it that's much better, because before it was just kind of a wiki page, and now it's a fully functional kind of platform, and it's terrific. My members have used it many times all over the world, and we've had people come visit. I think it's very hit or miss. You might never use it, but one of the reasons I think it's so important to be on it, several reasons. For one, it doesn't hurt for your SEO and just your visibility to be listed in the directory. For two, it's an amazing perk to put on your website. So if you can say, hey, your membership here gets you access to over 220 spaces all over the world, that's such an incredible hook for the members, even if they never use it, to know. And honestly, for some of the folks who are going to be watching this, who are in larger cities, who are competing directly with companies like WeWork, where the access to a global network is a major value for people to decide to join. I think the fact that we independent co-working spaces can also claim to share memberships in this way makes a huge difference, because it allows us to say, yeah, we got hundreds of locations around the world too, just all run by different people and all different businesses, but it's the same basic idea. And it's a really nice symbol of camaraderie as well. And I actually want to expand upon it to do more things between the spaces that are on it. I think it's a nice way of showing a sense of solidarity, kind of in the way that Maurice, we were talking about, like, why should we all be kind of on the same team? With something like the visa, if we all opt into it, then we're all on the same team, at least insofar as we have an attitude of being generous and welcoming and open to new people coming in, and that we don't have such like sticky corporate policies that we can allow for something like this to happen without having to clear it with management, because we are management. And so I'm a huge fan of it. I really, really think all of you should join it. I'm going to put a link in the chat now.
Tony, can you hear me? So I'm with Proximity Space out of Colorado is my software that I use, and they have created a network among the proximity users as well. And so I don't know if your software, if everyone else's software does the same thing. That's outside of the this program that you guys do, the Visa, but it's really nice, and I've had a few members take advantage of it, but for the most part, I agree, Tony, that it's just the idea that, you know, when I show them the map and show them all the different spaces that they can work at and around the globe, it's just, there's just something about it. They're like, that is really cool. Thank you. Having that ability. And they changed their, they changed how they did it. They just updated it. So now they offer just a deep discount, and you get to the people who are participating, all the members. So you could work for $8 in another space someplace else versus just, you know, popping in. But it's, and it allows them to work for longer periods. So it's they just set it up differently. And I still have to learn about it.
Yeah, I'm curious why they shifted to the paid model.
Yeah.
I could see, I could come up with a reason why, but it's interesting that they would make it a nominal fee.
Yeah. I don't know. I still gotta connect with others and learn a little bit more about how and why they set it up this way.
How do you like Proximity as a platform?
I have nothing to compare it to because it's the only platform I've used. I've heard nightmares about other platforms, and I like it. You know, they have a strong emphasis on members managing their own memberships, so that makes my life a whole lot easier running a space by myself, and that, you know, they have to remind me a few times every once in a while, Melanie, it's on them. You got to get them to manage their own membership. I'm like, yes, you're right. I do. So I think it's a good software system. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Great. And good emphasis on the self-management. You know, I know spaces that invoice. I don't know if anybody here invoices their members, but I can't imagine chasing people for their back rent every month, and it just seems so labor intensive and all that stuff. So the more that you're able to give, you know, create the ability to just collect the money is great. The only trade-off in terms of self-management is that it's very easy for someone to quit, and that does make it easier for someone to disappear who you might have been able to have a conversation with first. So, you know, it's a trade-off, but ultimately I think it's in favor. If we can cut down on our overhead, man, you know, that's all I want for you. That's not all I want. I want many things for all of you, but one of the things I want for all of you is just to minimize the amount of work wherever possible, you know, because there's a lot of work to do. So, cool. All right. Very good. We do have a few minutes left. I know we had kind of started off talking about the new faces in the room. Are there any other kind of last minute questions? And maybe want to throw it over to the folks who were here in the very beginning of the call, or even just anything you wanted to keep talking about from earlier in the call. What's sticking out for you? Oh, Jari, were you talking to us? Oh, hey.
Hi. So, Herman, you private messaged us about Office R&D, so we'll definitely sideline and talk to you about it. It's just another co-working software. But going back to the new spaces and, you know, Olivia talking about opening her space in a week. So Sarah, which we kind of introduced, but she wasn't able to fully talk about any of the stuff that she's dealing with or has questions about. So I just wanted to give her a second, and I'm sorry that we have to like stand really close to the computer. Do you want to say anything or ask any questions?
I've just been kind of swimming right now because this is my first full week on the job. Our space is not yet open. Our first event is in 3 weeks, and we're still talking paint color and furniture and everything. So I'm just doing a lot of learning on the fly. So I think the advice that y'all gave earlier is going to be very beneficial as I continue learning what my role is at Co-work Oberlin powered by Launch House. So I'm sure I'll have more questions the next time around. I'm listening right now just to see what all the common experiences are.
Sponge mode, I love it. Well, welcome to the party, and yeah, there's a lot to learn. But I'd say just, as a way of welcoming you, there is not just us, but the whole global co-working movement is a very generous, very kind, very sharing movement, and we're here to help. We're here to answer your questions, and anything you're dealing with, we've probably seen it before. So, we're here with you. Cool. Anything else? Anything else anyone wants to share? I mean, we can wrap it up a little early if you want.
One thing I'd be interested in the future is to hear how things go with Jaudia and like those local governments that reached out to her about helping stuff get set up in their area. I think that would be very interesting because I have some thoughts around, I'm very super early in my whole journey. But one thing I'd like to do at some point is get closer with the local government of my town. We're not a city, we're just a township. But we are growing quite a bit, like a lot of new families and stuff like that. So I would love a way, like a strategy to approach them to see how co-working could benefit that growth that's going on in the township.
Okay, so this is actually something I do want to talk more about. Oh, sorry, Jody, were you going to say something? Okay, good.
I just have something really, really quick to say because obviously we don't have time to go this far into it. But Maurice's thing that I think helps the most is recognizing their problem and already having the ready-made solution.
Okay.
So we recognize these towns or areas that they're having a problem with a lot of people working in their homes and a lot of small business creation, which is amazing, but that they're not able to tap into or to showcase to look good, because we know all these local politicians unfortunately just like to look good. So our goal is to actually do the good so that they can look good. So
interesting. Okay.
it was really about recognizing the problem that they're having and then already presenting the solution to them before they even asked us. And because we started doing that, then others started to see it. So now they're coming to us. But at first it was us just providing that turnkey solution and being able to create a flexible enough model where it can go anywhere. Like we can put something in a library, we can put something in a university, we can put something in a house, we can put something in a large space like we have here, just because it's the model that works and that it's flexible enough to work with different kinds of communities. So I think that's the biggest reason why they're now wanting to talk to us. But it was really about that first thing, building that model that transfers and proving ourselves here. And once they saw that, now they're coming. So that's probably my biggest, tip of going to these people is anticipating their problem and already bringing them the solution.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Eddie, I'm sorry. I wanted to add to that, if I may. So I was having trouble with my local government as well in the beginning, and once we opened and we started having our educational programs here for our members, members teaching each other, I started to invite people in our local government to attend these classes, and they started to show up and they saw how we were helping one another, and they were actually just like really impressed by what they experienced, and then they just contacted me and said, could you use like $2,000? And I was like, oh yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so building those relationships and getting them involved if possible in some way.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
I'll also say, it's a topic that I'm really interested in and trying to just get to the point where I can do something about it. But we've talked about this before in other calls, the untold story of the impact of these spaces, and really just through some simple gathering of, some basic information about what's been going on in your spaces, we can tell an incredible story that I think can help all of us raise a substantial support for our respective efforts. So it is something that I'm seriously looking at as a fall project.
Okay, awesome.
Awesome, guys. Wow, what a conversation. We've all different topics all over the world, up and down. But I'm really glad that we got to have everybody in on this call, and it's very exciting to be seeing new faces from different places, and Melanie to be considering expansion, not into the salon business, but just in general. Thank you so much for being a part of this and contributing to it. And yeah, keep up the great work, everybody. And Olivia, best of luck with your launch. Please keep us posted, shoot us messages, ask us questions, and take pictures and enjoy it. All right, take care, guys. I'll see you next week.
Thanks.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.